get the picture. Yeah, it's just very tense and very bad for the farmers and the workers over there.
Yeah, everybody who is not in the top 10% of the country is not one of the 11 families who own most of the wealth in this country.
Mm. Yes.
I think when this guy Lobo was getting in those elections, I think I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that a lot of people decided to boycott the elections and not participate in them because there was no space for them at all. And I think they're coming to elections again. And I read somewhere that yeah, a lot of the big groups of social movements that have been created out of reaction of all these are also planning on not participating in these elections either at all because they just see it so pointless.
Yeah, so a lot of the propaganda says it's because he wants to re-elect himself, which is not in the constitution. It doesn't allow, because he trying to change constitution, but or trying to have a national constituent assembly change the constitution, but the election is in November, and they wanted to have a voting box in November, the same day that they have the election, to say, do we or do we not want a national constituent assembly, which will reform the constitution? So how is it possible for him to re-elect himself when his term was ending then? It wasn't, yeah.
It's a silly question, but how the things that happened in Egypt, how likely would it be for something similar to happen in Honduras?
There is uprising, so what do you mean exactly?
Like a very popular uprising, called by Facebook.
There was 300,000 people marching on 27th of January 2010 in a country of 8 million people. Now this is a bigger number than I imagined. And this is just in the capital city. There was more in other cities. And so in terms of numbers on the streets, they have had that, and they have had, like when the coup first happened, they were on the streets every day for a couple of months, every day in thousands. Maybe they didn't take strong enough actions. Maybe the general strike never happened. They always talk about general strike, but they only ended up having some stop work days. But there is a lot of actions. I don't know in terms of how they haven't, like, they're not right now. They're not at that point of being the most. They're not at the high. They're high. In a way they are, because they have just gone through a big hurdle, just like yesterday, where they have got together as an assembly of the resistance front to decide the direction of the resistance. And there's been a lot of division, like Frank was mentioning. There's been part of the resistance that wants to focus the resistance effort on the next election, and a lot of people that were against it, and the people against it won in this assembly. Yeah, and there's also a lot of popular education, a lot of effort on popular education because yeah, you can always have more people understand better, and that's very important to the movement. Although they did get 300,000 people on the streets, everyone feels that they can do better. They can get more people more informed, and they can do it so that decisions can be made as the resistance that is bottom up. It's important that everyone is educated about what's happening, and this is a long process. But it has started. It is happening. And that's what all these efforts to have lots of workshops and everything.
The military in Egypt was on the resistance side. Is the military on the
They're
other
sold
side?
out. They're sold out.
Sold out.
Police also, and court and Congress and yeah, but there are the groups that are on the people's side that are part of the state. I guess the employees, yeah, most of the employees, whether they are electricity or agrarian reform or teachers. So,
Uh, do you think it's probably they looking like examples like Bolivia, like Enzo Morales? Or,
they definitely look up to Evo Morales. Definitely, like there's like different people. It's a very diverse movement. One person will go on about one person will go on about another person, or another. It's I can't really generalize and speak for the whole people. Um, More than that, they're all fighting for still the National Constituent Assembly, which is something that has happened in Bolivia.
what about the students, like the students in cities and or especially university students and stuff? What have you have any discussions with some of them or?
Yeah, I guess students like just more some students within a human rights organization, and they are very active, very. But I haven't participated in anything political.
Because it seems like it's a very big and very interesting struggle. It's happening. It's going on in that place. And, very big and very exciting thing in struggle against the big bosses and the government. Because when we're talking about workshops, that means like they know what they're doing. Because workshops is the base.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which we have to work in to struggle against the thing and to know the people. It's self-education. Yeah, I think it's very interesting. I've never thought like that. Like Honduras is like one of the countries of Americans. They have base over there and nobody cares and just.
Small country.
What can we do to help?
Lots of things, but there's 3 more parts, but they're a bit smaller. Okay, so we're going to talk. There's the 3 groups that are gay and lesbian, women, and teachers. They're going to be shorter than the other ones. So the LGBTI community, the impact of the crew on this group is, well, they have always been an invisible group to the government in terms of funding and stuff. Like one organization say the governments of Honduras have never funded any programs for gay and lesbian people. And but for the first time under the Zelaya government, there began to be negotiation between some organizations and the first state, and they were going to fund the program to give accompaniment to people who are going to so specifically about AIDS. When people go to get treatment, they need also support to make sure they take the medicine, they go to the chemist, they have someone to go to for support. And a lot of times people with HIV AIDS, they don't have this support network, especially with the high level of discrimination there is. And so, and with the coup, homophobia homophobia and hate crimes increased massively. Before the coup, it was about 3 killings a year. That's already unacceptable, but it increased, and in the last 1.5 years, 41 people from this community were killed, and seven in January 2001 alone. And some of these leaders have been resistance leaders as well, and a lot of these organizations are involved in the resistance very day. And so yeah, so several of these leaders have been killed, and there's also a struggle within the resistance, so ending homophobia within the resistance, and so participating in marches and challenging people's attitudes. And this community was also very affected by the curfews. There were lots of curfews in the beginning of the coup, and on 1 September last year, there were some really long curfews, including one that went for 40 hours. And so the sex workers in particular were quite affected by it because they work at night. And so they had to either not work, and which in some cases is not possible because a lot of this community, they have no choice but to do sex work because of the there's no social security system, and there's a lot of discrimination. So the employers, they were like, no, you are from this community, we're not going to give you a job. And yeah, I'll show you some photos from one march they did on January 13th. And this march, they are demanding justice for the killing of one leader, Walter Troches, a 27-year-old youth who he had HIV, and he's a big leader within the gay lesbian movement, and also within as a general human rights defender and also resistance activist. He was an amazing person. And this one, so you see lots of, we were at the DPP, public prosecutors, we were protesting outside it. And this is a car park right next to it. Lots and lots of vehicles were going in and out without number plates. Right in front of. And there was one vehicle that just parked outside it, and just people were armed and they just came out and they went inside the building and nothing happens to them. Within this, so I spent quite a bit of time with a lot of people from this organization doing an article for HIV Australia. So I've been sat in workshops and I've interviewed young people. And in the workshop, they had workshops like, what is homophobia? And the young person would lead the workshop, and then people participate. Or there's another one, what are hate crimes, and what can we do? And it's actually quite interesting to participate in them and come up, like, you think you know, and then you think about it more and talk about it, and you come up with something more. And we also play soccer together. And I just want to read one thing that one of the young people had said in an interview. He said, I am in struggle firstly because I belong to the sexually diverse community and belong to this world. And it hurts me that they are killing my comrades. I want to say we do not accept that they are killing us and our comrades for being who we are, for being gay, for being trans. We all have a right to life, and we see that they are taking away the life not of an animal, but or a dog, but of a person. So there is a lot of a lot of people who belong to this organization. They are very much they see themselves as very much part of this. They see the problem of the country as is not so they have the struggle against homophobia and hate crimes and against the impunity, but they also are very strongly fighting against the coup, and they want constitutionality to return, and they can see a very strong link between the coup and what is happening to them. And they want, and because they have experienced a lot of injustice in their lives, and so that also. Should we go on to the next one, or does people want to say stuff? In terms of the gay and lesbian movement, educating other parts of the movement about their rights is more their participation in the marches and working in putting things in the communications, in the resistance communications, and participating as part of the movement. But I don't know of any particular. They hold open workshops for everyone in the resistance. I don't know if they have targeted workshops or.
Yeah.
I think there's like a cultural, sorry, I think there's like a culture on like the religious Catholic background of Latin America that in a way, and from the Vatican is always seen homosexuality or the whole movement as something that's unnatural and unmoral and stuff, and probably from there is that they will have that kind of education, let's say.
Yeah, that's very good. That's good.
Yeah, they always and many people belong. I don't know what percentage of people belong to organizations, but I can see like the organizations are kind of drop-in centers and people go and organize and stuff.
Yeah.
10% of women in resistance have reported who have suffered repression have reported sexual violations. There was one story that was particularly bad of a woman who was in resistance, and she was a teacher, and she was gang raped by police, and she made complaint to human rights organization who made the complaint, and then months later she and family driving and the police kidnapped the whole vehicle of her and her family, and the female members were they were raped again to say how dare you complain, and the women's institution, they fired the head of the women's institution and replaced with someone conservative. And this institution has since supported men perpetrators in domestic violence cases, and so both issues of domestic violence and femicides, because the institution, police, prosecutor, courts, they all become coup. So people don't have trust of these organizations, so they don't use them, and so whereas the organization before, they were trying to work with these organizations to try and make them work better. Now they're focusing on other things because they see no point in doing that. And there's also internal struggle within the resistance because there is sexism as well, and And the feminist struggle, as I mentioned before, is very much in solidarity with the other sectors. So this is one mutual support women's group in the second biggest city in Honduras, and they just talk about what they do and why they organize. So they organize a lot against femicides. They call mutual support women's group, and they organize against the coup. They participate against the coup, and they also so talking to them about what is the impacts of the coup, they talked a lot about increased living costs. Is a lot more expensive, everything, food, and they talked about persecution, and they talked about why they got involved. And some of the women, they got involved because they were victims of domestic violence, and then this group helped them and gave them support, helped them through processes to leave the violent relationship, and then they want to work to help others go through, and they're also very politically conscious. They organized the first women's people's court. In this, and what this is so the indigenous women, they got together from different parts of the region in Honduras, and they got together and to share, make complaints about complaints about different. They choose something where the whites have been violated, and they mention it in public, and it goes on radio. There's a few people who didn't do this publicly, they dance on radio, because they're very sensitive cases, usually involving sexual violence. And so this some of the women, and the women making their so they make complaints about all different things. Some say something about dance, some say something about an ex-partner, and some say something about political persecution. And especially older women, they were a lot more confident to come and make their complaints public. And this the males of the organization, they got together and they undertook kitchen duties for this activity to challenge the structures so always women in the kitchen. So they cooked nice meals for the women. And this is the last photo. So this the leadership of this organization is really, they really do try to change the existing structures. Well, it's very difficult. Like when you see the mixed men and women in the meeting, you see like men participating a lot and women not at all. And including there's one group I was part of doing this brainstorming, where the non-participation was so much that the young woman in the group, she sat far from the group with her baby. We were like, do you want to come sit with us? And we can talk about this together. And we had to move to where she was because she didn't come. So it's a lot of work. But there is in some of the leadership there is a lot of work to it. Like, and they make this magazine to hand out, and it was really good. Like it goes on about how one woman was undervalued from birth, and she married and she was abused by her husband, and undermined in every way, but she questioned the norms of society and expectation, and she went and she was a major leader against a dam in her community, and yeah, so on one hand there is some organizations and some people doing a lot of work. On the other hand, I would also say there is a lot of sexism, and yeah, yeah, including I experienced a lot of sexism. I was really annoyed about. There's different funding. So there was letters going around to the elite of the country saying, for the democracy of the country, we want you to donate $2,000 or something. And so there's different people, to all the business people, and Business Council of Honduras is United Democratic, what is it called? Civil Democratic Union is business people, official political people. There is a very cool group, and they organize including white shirt marches, which are marches of the rich people and the people they pay to show support for the coup, and also there was some funding for lobbying media campaigns from the U.S. It wasn't substantial. It was something like $20,000 from some think tanks. Yeah, off the top of my head, but there is definite diplomatically. There's definite support from all the conservative countries. Even if at the beginning everyone say they oppose it, but their actions is other. Yeah, I was talking with Dr. Juan Almendares, who is the director of Friends of the Earth International and the director of Center for Prevention of Treatment and Torture in Honduras, and he was saying it's important to emphasize that it was an international coup. Yeah, that is not only Honduran elite, but Honduran elite in partnership with a lot of international interests, whether it's palm oil, hydroelectric dams, and education, and business, factories.
So do you think there's any direct connections to companies that you could possibly, make people aware of?
The companies, all the multinationals, okay, the multinationals that are on the kind of boycott list include people we know and people we don't. So people we know are like McDonald's, Pizza Hut, Wendy's, Bobbin, I don't know, ice cream, so forth. And people we don't know, so there's Dinant is a company, a Honduran company that does the palm oil, and yeah, there's a lot of sweatshops, yeah, but there's no kind of obviously target. I think, I don't know, there's a lot of business interests, or wanting to get what they can, rather than one particular.
So maybe you could say that you want to boycott a way of life, in a way. If you know what I mean, like.
Boycotting, yeah, like boycotting something like that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you can't target one thing because there's thousands more that are still doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So maybe boycotting them.
I think that's often the thing with boycotting as well. Like most things, they're really big and really bad, have several interests.
So the teacher struggle. So the impact on the crew on teachers is there is a process to privatize education. This leads to privatization. It has led to privatization in Philippines, and will lead to and also they have taken they have been to replace the teachers award with the law of education, which is for this privatization. And the teachers award, um, yeah, it's been suspended at the moment. It's been accidentally suspended. They just yeah, they publish something in the paper that they publish all the laws in, and then it says teachers award suspended, and someone notices months later and they say what's wrong, and they're like, oh, and then the people, the president is saying like, oh, that was a mistake, it must have been transcription mistake. um, and but nothing has been done to address this mistake. They haven't. So we don't think it's mistake at all. And there's been about 15 teachers who have been killed, including one called Manuel Flores. He was killed in 2010 on March or April. Is one of the worst cases because he was shot at school during break time in front of the children and the other teachers by a few people coming in hooded and just shot him. Um, and in August there was a very massive repression. The teachers were in strike for a month, demanding. Oh, I forgot to mention that 2,000 teachers haven't been paid in 2010 still at all for any of the work they've done. And before it was 6,000, 4,000 have been paid, but they're doing it slowly, little by little, and it's not acceptable. And so this repression that the teachers were put under in August was they were constantly gassed. They had tear gas cans thrown at them. There was including the very worst day. There were 300 gas cans thrown at them in confined spaces. They were inside a university, and they were where they were refuging, and to come out, all the doors are guarded by, so you would be arrested if you come out. And a lot of, so it's affected a lot of people. So I'll show you some slides. Let me see. It's Tuesday, Teachers March.
I like the flag. You didn't see the flag, but I like the flag.
Okay.
Black and red.
This is a Monday, and they managed to march to the Congress, and this is a Tuesday. They have the assembly, and then they have march, but this is police. We walked the whole Congress around the streets, then been militarized, and this is just one of the bridges. And the police, they were really aggressive, but we didn't. But these police didn't actually attack us. They pretended they wanted to. They came out for 1 second, like in an attacking position, but they came back. But then there must be another similar contingent of police in another bridge where the teachers tried to cross to the Congress, where teachers were attacked, and that's where this picture is where people are running from the gas. So on this day, the teachers, so there was gases flying at teachers, at the bodies, at the cans at the bodies of the teachers, and after the protest, because the police want to, because there's a lot of media campaign to say teachers are lazy and so forth, and that's why they are having strikes. It's funny that lazy teachers would work for 12 months without pay, but they wanted a West teacher, so they went around and they found this vehicle that was from one of the teachers' unions, because you can see it says Copen, and then they arrested the people in this car, 4 teachers, and it was not near the demonstration, and they are undergoing charges for terrorism right now. So that's all. Yeah.
Thank you so much.